Hi, my name is Rita Cartwright, and I am the founder of RJ's Internet Marketing Services. And welcome to our webinar on Start and Grow Your Own Business. Today, we will be covering the first module in a series of four modules on Start and Grow Your Own Business. And we will begin with how to identify your money making business idea. So, first of all, congratulations. You've decided to create your own online economy and work from home. However, the first step is to come up with your own unique money making business idea. So, you may already know beyond the shadow of the doubt what type of business model you dream of following, but it's still important to do your homework. So the first step is in how to identify your money making business idea is brainstorming your business idea. And this is step one. And we will be discussing 5 steps to take into account when identifying your money making idea. And so, as I mentioned, the first step is to brainstorm your business idea. And you'll often hear people online telling you to follow your passion when creating your money making business. However, the trouble with that is sometimes your passion um, doesn't actually pay. So if that's the case, you may have to abandon your first simplistic idea. For example, I want to sell dog accessories. For a related version, either expand it to be more lucrative or narrow it down to a more specific niche business. For example, instead of selling dog accessory, narrow it down to selling doggy do hair styling kits, for example. And so when brainstorming, your best bet is to make a list of all of your hobbies, talents, and past experience and skills. And also add some subjects in there that you always wanted to learn more about. And so you take your result from that and use that as keywords and search Google and see what the results are. And so this is an example of a result in searching for doggy hair. And so you would search with the Google comes up with the result in that, as well as through its auto suggest feature to get you more ideas, give you more ideas of variations of doggy hair business idea. But be sure to explore your results that interest you further so you can get a real feel of what's already out there and how many similar business there are. Do they pay? Are people selling in this niche? How many similar products are being sold on Amazon and eBay? And remember, these are pertinent questions, so keep these type of questions in mind when you're doing your research. What categories are they filed under? And subcategories, who are the top competitors in this niche? What has been covered and what hasn't been covered, and what hasn't will give you a big clue as to the gaps that you can lucratively fill. So just do further research on that one specific topic and make sure that the reason that it hasn't been filled is because there was no need for it. So this brings us to an important step that's often overlooked and when identifying your money making business ideas. And so that brings us to our next step. Make sure that your idea business actually pays. Many an entrepreneur has have sank heart, soul, time, and money into a dream business venture only to discover there is no paying market. And so take the case of Michelle M. that we'll call her, who has so much fun sharing miniature doll tips, patterns, and resource links that she decided to open a pattern store. So she researched her market and confirmed there was a tremendous interest in new patterns within that niche, something she already knew through being a member of a high activity sewing forum. But what she admits that she didn't research was, would her market actually pay for the patterns? How much would they be willing to pay? What other items do they typically buy? Besides patterns, were they currently shopping online at online stores that offered patterns and more? How much of a market could she realistically expect to command? And how much would that make in sales? How often did her ideal clients, customers buy? Every week, 3 times a year, once in a blue moon? These are pertinent questions to take into account when doing your market research, and we're going to discuss that in a few minutes more on market research. Being that she was already an established figure in her niche, she was actually able to generate interest quickly and actually sell some patterns, but not to the point of creating a viable business. So, since Michelle really wanted to work in that niche, miniature dolls, she went back to the drawing board, and further research indicated a crying need for reliable miniature doll sewing supplies such as miniature trims, minuscule patterns, pleating boards, micro buttons, and the like, as well as miniature kits and accessories for miniature dolls, for example, wigs, and doll houses, for example, furniture. So she researched online stores already selling these items and made notes as to what was missing. So, being that she was already a miniature doll expert, she was able to identify these gaps right away. But she also read blogs put out by site owners and paid attention to what the customers were actually asking for. And so her next step was that she checked out wholesale suppliers such as Alibaba.com, paying particular attention to the search feedback feature and making sure there was already in place escrow based paying arrangements. And her next step was she calculated how much she can mark up these wholesale items. As you know, as I mentioned, Alibaba.com is a wholesaler supplier, wholesale supplier. So just by going there, she can get a good idea of what the market is selling these items at, so for as being wholesale. And so she calculated that as well as what the target market would pay so she could have a um, be able to add a markup to the wholesale items. And so then she hired someone to set up a shopping cart and help her with a stronger, more focused web design. And today, 10 years later, she's going strong and making a steady income. And she said, not 6 figures, but just the way I like it, everything in balance. But what if you're not like Michelle? What if you don't know what you would like to do online? Have no idea. You either feel you have A, no skills, or B, a mismatched smorgasbord of skills that range across the board. Or perhaps you are highly skilled in certain areas but completely burnt out in that business and badly in need of a change of pace. So, how do you go about finding a new business without starting from ground zero? And so, this takes us to our next step in this first module, taking stock of your ideas and the chances that you are taking. And so, back to the drawing board, your first step is to start brainstorming. Don't rule out anything yet. This is just to get your creative juices flowing and to dredge up skills and achievements you either forgotten or have taken totally for granted. And so, if you're stuck, we have included a new brainstorming sheet in the Module 1 coursework that you can print out and fill it in. And so, we will be giving more information on Module 1 a little later on in this webinar. And so after you have filled out your brainstorming worksheet, take some time to really think about your results, especially looking at the sort of activities that would make the hours fly by, like moments. This is one of the categories on the worksheet that you will fill out. And also this category is on the worksheet, those type of tasks that would make you procrastinate uh, when you think about even tackling and completing those tasks, and also makes you ashamed of even thinking about procrastinating on completing those tasks. And so these couple of questions or some of the examples that you would have to think about and answer on that particular worksheet that is included in the coursework. And as I said, we'll talk more about that in a little bit, how you can get your hands on that course. And so these are valuable indicators of what's going on with you. The ones that will make the hours, the tasks that make the hours fly by, or the tasks that will make you procrastinate. These are valuable indicators of what's going on with you at a deep base level and where your best and weakest skills and interests lie. And so this is talking about how would you start, we're discussing on this step, how would you start a new business, a new career without starting from ground zero if you've already established your online business. And so this is in case if you have started offering a type of service that you feel like you've already burnt out on. And so take another case in point, we'll call her Karen D. She had worked at a large call center and she was burned to a crisp listening to customer complaints. So she decided to work from home as a virtual assistant instead. And so, being that she was highly organized with a strong ability to multitask, she set up shop quickly and put her formidable energy into acquiring clients. However, after an exciting start, she suddenly ended up specializing in help desk customer service. And this is the type of work that she was already burnt out on in the corporate world. And she was horrified to realize that she was right back where she started, dealing with customer complaints and frustrated, angry people, mostly through her live chat sessions because her business was online. And so she restructured a business that she had already established and she based it on what she liked and not what she thought she had the most experience in, which initially was her customer service. Experience. Remember, she worked in a large call center, and so she reorganized her business, restructured it on what she liked, and she realized what she liked during her time in the corporate world was management and team building. These were her major motivation and source of satisfaction. And so this was the common denominator. And so based on this realization, she changed her business model slightly and leveraged the business she had already built up. And instead of getting rid of the clients that she had already acquired, she outsourced those tasks to other VAs. And so these VAs would work for her on a subcontracting basis, and so she would pay them less than what her client is paying her for this service. And so that's how she makes her profit. And so she ended up making a comfortable profit without having to man another live help desk line. And so instead, she focused all her energy on her business and creating a dream team rather than try to perform every task herself. And because she understood business so well, she was able to tap into what clients really needed. Remember, she was in the workforce for like 22 years, and she tapped into that. And within 2 years, she was making more than she had previously in her 22 years in the workplace. And so remember in Module 1, we're looking at how to um, identify your money making business ideas. And so, in the case of Karen D, she had already identified the business idea, but the first one wasn't good. She had to revamp her business. And in our first example, we had Michelle. Her business idea was the miniature dolls, but she had to do further research on that in order to make money make turn that business into money making. Remember, we're identifying money making business ideas. And so in our fourth step in our 5 steps is making sure that your business idea have that twist of originality in order to make your business stand out. And we will discuss that a little bit more of how to make your business stand out in just a bit here. And so your first thing is to make sure your business is highly unique and specialized if you want to create a lucrative online business. And so, really, the idea is to do both, making your business highly unique and specialized, and to make it stand out from the crowd. And so, of course, all this involves market research, and I alluded to that earlier too, that we're going to get into market research. And so, how do you conduct market research? First, come up with your idea, or even 4 or 5 ideas. Next comes research. And remember Michelle M. in our first example? She had to redo her research, making her research a focused, careful research into every aspect of her niche. Then run your basic internet research to see if there's any demand. If there is, check further to see if that niche topic actually would make you any money. If yours is a physical product, for example, stoneware frogs, and you plan to have an online catalog and e-store, there are plenty ways to find out if your product type will sell online. And your number one option is to check the big players, eBay and Amazon. Now, a quick glance at frogs, not stoneware frogs, will show there are hundreds of frogs for sale. That's your market if you're going to sell frogs. And so instead of frogs, you have to specialize it even more. And you see here, this is a screenshot of searching for stoneware frogs on eBay. And you show there are 52 different competitors who are selling stoneware frogs on eBay, but that narrowed it down from just selling plain frogs, which will, when you first do a Google search on frogs, you'll see the results are hundreds and hundreds. And so Go to eBay, check them out, and check out the different displayed fields. For example, the typical price objects are commanding, the categories and subcategories the products are filed under, or whether or not there are any sales or any bids, or if there's any interest in those products. And so obviously there's a market for stoneware frogs. If you do a quick search for it in Google, um, you'll see that there's over 1 million results. So at first this looks like a daunting number of results. Over 1 million. So normally this would be far too great a number of possible competitors. But notice the first two top ranking sites are eBay and Etsy, that showed up in the Google search engine results. And so this item here is on eBay right here. And this item here is on Etsy. And so, for those of you who may not be familiar with who and what Etsy is, it's an online version of the world's handmade marketplace. But the clue is, any items that you feature on these sites stands a much greater chance of rising to the top of organic search results if you add photos and sprinkle your keywords throughout the descriptions. However, there's another factor to consider if you're going to sell, for example, stoneware frogs. How many frog products can you turn out in 1 week? You have to factor in the size of your kill, firing time, and glazing refire time. So you won't be able to put out so many, right? And why don't you have a small local store? But you'll never get rich that way, right? So, plus, you have to factor in the cost of overhead if you had a local store. And you have to factor in the cost of travel time if you're going to display your products, for example, at fairs, and the cost of the booth at fairs, etc., etc. All of these will eat away at your profit. So even if you do decide to have an actual storefront or visit fairs a few times a year with a batch of your wares, consider also having an online business catalog. And so the only item you really have to factor in if you had an online business catalog is shipping. And your customers typically pay for the shipping, so you won't even have to consider that. And many physical stores advertise they select wares on eBay and Etsy to build their client list. And the client list is another vital part of having online business. And so, how to do that is another subject that we covered when we did our social media marketing webinars. And so you can find out how to do that if you go to our web page and visit our business resources and check out our social media marketing webinars. And so back to um, the uh, uh, um, the business owners who have physical stores and also advertise their products on eBay and Etsy rather, excuse me, to build their client list. And others prefer to run strictly a home-based business without a storefront, selling directly online. And so even if you have a dedicated e-store and a catalog, which is your shopping cart, your online catalog is your shopping cart, and displaying a few pieces on eBay is a good strategy for increasing your sales and rising in the Google ranks. And so you may say, but what about if I sell services and not goods? Well, you can apply much the same principles to service-based businesses, boosting your visibility, creating an ebook or ebook series, and selling it on Amazon, especially Kindle Reader versions to boost your searchability and credibility. And so for you, it would be even more important to find a niche that is competitive, but is not so competitive where your website and business services are drowned out. And so for that, you need to specialize. And so say, for example, you decided to be a virtual assistant. And so simply searching for virtual assistant online is guaranteed to yield you um, literally over 40 million results. But say that as a virtual assistant, you specialize in setting up and maintaining shopping carts. So doing a Google search using keywords your ideal client is most likely to use, and there's a dramatic drop in the number of results. You went from 40 million to only 184,000. That is quite a drop. And just added specialized keywords that your potential clients, your ideal client, may use to search for you. So a little savvy promotion would do the rest in narrowing down um, this market even further. And so we'll get to that in Module 4 when we discuss marketing strategies to attract your targeted clients and customers. And so once you got your service business idea narrowed down to a viable range, it's time to look at what makes your business different. And for that, it's best to find out what your clients are asking for and are not getting. And so you can research that in a number of ways. And that brings us to our fifth and final step in Module 1 when identifying your money making business idea, researching your market. So at this point, we can abandon generalities and start digging down into specifics. You can find out what your target market, your target client most urgently wants by utilizing a number of research tactics. And at the top of the list is simply asking. And you can do this in a number of ways. So let's start with online. Ask your forum members. And hopefully you belong to forums that relate to your niche. And read the past posts to check for feedback, complaints, and wishes and questions. These will provide important clues if you know how to listen. Use social media to ask friends and followers who are also in your target group what they want, need, and miss. Ask them any question you like related to your business and ask them to share it. Now, a tip for you, a little internet marketing tip for you. If you're going to post your questions on Facebook, include a photo and include your keywords in the description, sprinkle it throughout. And it will make sure the Facebook Edge rank algorithm shares your post with most of your targeted followers. And tweet the same question, share it on your blog, and ask for comments or answers through social media. Create polls using a Facebook app. Shrink loves polls too. So that can help boost your um, ability, your possibility of your question being shared with your followers. Create surveys using sites such as SurveyMonkey rather. They have a free version where you can ask up to 10 questions and ask people to visit your survey on the social networks and in any niche related forum you belong to. And SurveyMonkey has ability where you can add it to your Facebook page. And so this is a great feature to use to ask to see what your ideal client needs or want or is missing, especially from your competitors. Check online job directories and see what sorts of jobs are being posted. For example, Elance and Odesk, and I believe it's elance.com and odesk.com. Also see what type of services are being asked for in online job markets such as Snagajob and Workopolis. And so remember, we're discussing how to make your business different. And so you asked, find out what the clients are not getting, and as well what they are asking for. Find your competitors, big and small. Check out what the complaints are about their products and services, and what their customers are saying, what their customers are asking for, what they're not doing or supplying that you could provide or supply. Also, check out their good points and bad. What do you perceive as these competitors' strengths and weaknesses? What could you do better? If you can't surpass them, your competitors, what can you do that would make it easier or more satisfying for people to shop with you? Use sites such as Alexa and Quantcast to study your competitors' customer demographics, as well as other sites and businesses these customers visit. And this is example of stats that you can assess on one of your competitors. And this is a screenshot from Alexa, which will also show you high impact search queries. And so simply select the view the complete search and analytics and scroll down a page that opens up for even more searches and specific details. The more research you do, the better. You'll know if your idea is viable, and it should be starting to take shape now. And in fact, you may have disqualified your original ideal and you're focusing on a more promising variation based on the information you just gathered from this webinar. And so at this point, it's crucial to ask yourself some searching questions. So we have included another worksheet in the Start and Grow Your Own Business course to help you continue brainstorming your business idea. And so don't get hung up if you definitely can't answer all of the questions that you see on this worksheet. So just go ahead and fill it out, and you can always revisit it later. So the important thing is you're thinking about your business and you're assembling all the important ingredients for your success recipe. And so when you're finished gathering all that together, you know whether or not you're going to be able to successfully bake that cake. And so when brainstorming your unique business idea, don't look at it as like it's going to be an online job, but look at it like you're creating a total online economy. And so this completes our webinar on the first module in a series of 4 modules on start and grow your own business. And so to recap what we covered in our 5 steps, in our first step, we looked at brainstorming your business idea. And in the second step, we looked at make sure that your business idea actually pays. And in step 3, we looked at taking stock of your ideas and chances in case if you have already started your business but found out that you base your business initially on your skill that you brought over from working in the corporate world instead of creating your business based on what you like to do. And so that first worksheet that we discussed when brainstorming your business idea will help you with that. And so make sure in our next step we discuss making sure that you have that twist of originality to make your business stand out from your competitor. And so, in the fifth step, we discuss researching your market because the information that you garner from researching your market will help you to decide your business idea. It will also help you uh, note whether the business idea that you do decide on will be viable. And it also, the market research will let you know what your competitors are doing if they're offering the same type of product or service that you decide to offer. And so market research will afford you all type of valuable information that you would need so far as um, coming up with a business idea. The business idea that you come up with, is it viable? And also, if your competitors have the same business idea, what can you do to make your business stand out from them? What can you do that your competitors are not doing if you happen to be sharing the same market? And so this concludes our webinar. And thank you very much for taking time out of your busy schedule to attend this webinar. And so this webinar really for those of you who have been in business for 3 years or less, and the course that I alluded to throughout the webinar can be picked up on our website at the link that's displayed on your monitor. And so this course does include 4 modules, including this module, what we just covered. And so this module that we just covered in this webinar is only the tip of the information that's included in the written version of this webinar. And so you can pick up this course over at our website today for the low cost of $37. And so, as I mentioned, what we cover today is only 1/4 of what's included in this product for the low cost of $37. And so, as I mentioned also, this webinar did not even begin to cover the rest of the information that's included in the printed version of this webinar, which is the course, and also included in the course that you can pick up are the 2 worksheets, and also in Module 1, the other modules also have worksheets and homework assignment. Each module will include those extra items that will not even cover in our webinars. And so it would behoove you to go and pick that product up so you can have it in your repertoire, especially if you are a new business, less than 3 years old, and you can always have it as a reference guide to refer to for any questions that may come up as you start your business and grow your business. And once again, thank you very much for attending our webinar.